Hey, it's Jen from Backpackies.com. In this video, I'm going to do a North Face Jester versus Borealis backpack comparison. Not too long ago, I compared the North Face Borealis and Recon. If you haven't already, you should definitely check out that video on the Backpackies channel. It sheds some light on the key differences between those two bags. I wanted to do a similar comparison between the North Face Jester and Borealis, since at first glance they look so similar, yet the Jester is cheaper in price. At the time of this video, the Borealis retails for $89, while the Jester retails for $69. But prices may vary, especially if there are any sales going on. So I have links in the video description to where to purchase these backpacks if you are curious about the latest prices and color options. Before I begin, I want to mention that I do have the women's versions of both the Jester and Borealis for this video. If you are shopping for the men's version, this comparison will still apply, since the differences really have to do with fit and not necessarily design. The men's versions are going to have wider shoulder straps and a slightly different back panel, and the men's Borealis specifically will be larger by 1 liter. So the actual measurements may be a bit different between the men's and women's versions. But other than that, all of the pockets, compartments, and materials are the same. So whether you are shopping for the men's or women's version, this comparison will still apply. Now let's begin with how these backpacks differ on paper. The North Face Jester has a capacity of 28 liters, while the Borealis has a capacity of 27 liters for the women's version and 28 liters for the men's version. So already you can see that they are near identical in terms of how much you can carry. When it comes to dimensions, you are going to also find them to be around the same size. Here are the dimensions I got from the North Face website. As you can see, the Borealis looks to be the larger backpack in terms of measurements. When actually measured, I found the backpacks to be near identical, with both bags coming in around 19.5 inches in height. The width of the Borealis is larger at a maximum of 14.5 inches, while the Jester has a max width of about 13.5 inches, and the outside depth of both backpacks is around 8 inches. When it comes to materials, you are going to find different materials on both the Jester and Borealis. Now, the materials used on each backpack depends on the color, but the Jester uses a mix of 600 denier polyester emboss, 600 denier polyester print, and 300 denier heather polyester, while the Borealis uses nylon materials, primarily 500 denier nylon Oxford slub, 420 denier nylon, and 210 denier Cordura nylon ripstop. If you want to know the difference between polyester and nylon, nylon is generally stronger with greater stretchability when compared to polyester. It also feels a little bit softer to the touch. But both are really strong fabrics that are naturally water resistant and can take a beating. In this case, nylon does have the edge, as it gives the Borealis a more premium feel when compared to the Jester. Another small construction difference is with the zippers. The Borealis uses YKK zippers, while the Jester uses cheaper SBS zippers. At first, you won't feel too much of a difference because the zippers on the Jester aren't terrible by any stretch, but YKK zippers are the better of the two. They are really smooth, robust, and have the reputation of being a top quality zipper. So now that we have gone over the general specs of these backpacks, let's compare the pockets and compartments on both the Jester and Borealis. The biggest difference between these two backpacks is where you can find the laptop storage. The Jester places its laptop storage inside the main compartment in the form of a padded sleeve, while the Borealis has a completely separate laptop compartment located behind the main compartment. Both backpacks can accommodate a laptop up to 15 inches, but the laptop compartment on the Borealis has more room, And this is because it has an entire compartment to itself that can take up the full width and height of the backpack. So on the Borealis, you're looking at internal laptop sleeve dimensions of 12 inches by 17.5 inches high, while on the Jester, the laptop sleeve is only 11 inches wide and 16 inches high if you count the room all the way to the top. Another thing to consider is that the Borealis laptop compartment has more depth than the Jester laptop sleeve. So if you have a thicker laptop that takes up more room, then the Borealis will be more accommodating. Moving on to the front pockets. Both the Jester and Borealis have this really awesome front organizer compartment that can store pens and other small items. The biggest difference I can find is that the Borealis includes this nice fleece-lined slip pocket that can be used for a phone or glasses. And the Jester doesn't have any fleece-lined pockets at all. Another difference is that the North Face says you can use this top slip pocket on the Borealis to hold a tablet. And as you can see, a tablet fits just fine. On the Jester, there is Velcro holding this pocket in place, and there isn't as much room on the top here for a tablet. Another difference between the Jester and Borealis is that the Jester does not include a front fleece-lined pocket. The Borealis has this awesome fleece-lined pocket on the front of the backpack that can be used for quickly storing a phone or sunglasses without having to worry about scratches. The last pockets on both the Jester and Borealis are the side mesh pockets. Here is where you can really tell the difference between the Jester's use of polyester and the Borealis's use of nylon. The Borealis's side pockets are made out of this soft and stretchy mesh, while the Jester uses a rougher mesh that isn't stretchy at all except for the elastic band on top. So you'll find that when you place a bottle inside the Borealis side pockets, the entire pocket will stretch and hug the bottle to keep it in place. The side pockets on the Jester rely on the elastic band on top to hold the bottle. It's less secure, and the pockets themselves just don't feel as nice. The quality of these side pockets are night and day, with the Borealis having far better pockets. On the front of the backpacks is where you will find the elastic bungee systems. Now, at first glance, they seem pretty similar, but there are differences between the two. The bungee system on the North Face Jester is going to be smaller than the one on the Borealis, and that has to do with how it's closed on the bottom, whereas the Borealis has a more open design. I found that the bungee on the Borealis can accommodate larger items, and is much easier to use because it didn't have the same choke point on the bottom like the Jester has. So now that we have gone over the pockets and compartments in the Jester and Borealis, let's compare some more details. Both backpacks have the same flex vent suspension system with injection molded shoulder straps, so both backpacks feel the same when worn. As far as the back panel goes, both backpacks have padded mesh back panels. In the women's Borealis, you'll find a different back panel design, but the men's versions use the exact same back panels on both the Jester and Borealis. Both backpacks have the same adjustable sternum strap, but where they differ is in the waist belt. The North Face Jester does not include a waist belt, while the North Face Borealis includes a removable waist belt. The last difference is that the Borealis includes compression straps on the side, while the Jester does not. Compression straps are good to have because they allow you to control the depth of your backpack by compressing it when it's not full. And that concludes this North Face Jester versus Borealis comparison. This leaves us with one question: which is better? As you can tell, both the Jester and Borealis share a lot of the same features, but the Jester really does cut corners to accommodate its lower price. Despite being about the same size, you don't get a waist belt or compression straps. The bungee system on the front is also smaller. And you are missing fleece-lined pockets and a pocket for a full-size tablet. If you can live without those features and want to spend less on a backpack, then I would go with the North Face Jester. Another feature on the Jester worth considering is the laptop placement. Some people may prefer to have their laptop inside the main compartment. This makes it easier for anyone who wants to have their laptop, books, and notebooks all in one place without having to open up a separate compartment. So if you reach for those items often, it makes grabbing them a bit quicker. But nothing really beats a separate dedicated laptop compartment, like the one found in the North Face Borealis. This laptop compartment is just solid all around, and it even has more room than the sleeve on the Jester. So if you have an expensive laptop that you don't want getting scratched, or have a laptop that isn't super slim, then the North Face Borealis is the backpack you want to go with. Not only that, but the Borealis has that awesome fleece-lined pocket on the front, a better organizer compartment, and better side stretch pockets for your water bottles. It's essentially the Jester, just upgraded. Is it worth the extra money? Absolutely. So my advice to you is if you can afford to get the Borealis, then get the Borealis. Little features like the side compression straps and fleece-lined pockets will just give you a better experience. I hope that this North Face backpack comparison has helped shine some light on which is the better backpack for you. Quick reminder that the links to where to purchase these backpacks can be found in the video description. And for more backpack buying guides and comparisons, make sure to check us out at backpackies.com. Thanks for watching.